right, all right. Let's have a little chat first, shall we? Shall we? Could you, oh boy, must this wardrobe person here is terrible. Okay, how y'all doing? Hey, lots happened since last time we talked. I mean, with what's going on with the banking world, um, you want to know the real coup, the real coup de grace of all of this? Um, Silicon Valley Bank tanked because, well, they did what they were supposed to do, and they bought treasuries because they're safe and they're secure and they're very liquid, but they're not a hedge against um, interest rate hikes and inflationary periods. So that's what did them in, and the requirements for that came about in the partially in the Dodd-Frank Act back in 2008 and 9, 10, actually a little bit later. And then the second big bank to fall was Signature Bank. And the beautiful thing, do you know who was on the board of directors for Signature Bank? If you thought Barney Frank, you would be right. Oh, it's just you can't write this stuff. It's crazy. Um, but already we are in the two biggest, the second and third largest banks to fail have failed already this year, making 2023 the worst year for bank failures ever. Because they are second and third place, and the fourth place is so far behind it that it's not even a consideration. That's why this one is so bad, is because the Washington Mutual in 2008 was $188 billion, $188 billion bank. Silicon Valley was 175, and Signature was 88. So you add those two together, and based upon deposits, total deposits, 2023 is so far the worst year ever for bank failures. So how about that? That's what we're looking at. We're going to see credit tightening as usual. This is like almost 15 years to the day that Bear Stearns folded, and a month before Bear Stearns folded, they were trading at $80 a share. Just more and more examples of the government just screwing things up and thinking that they know better than anybody else. They had no idea that the pressure that the inflation and the hikes in the interest rates would have on the treasuries that the banks purchased in order to maintain stability, except when it happens during an inflationary period, interest rates rising, banks get screwed. Oh my gosh, is that right, AJ? Jim Cramer struck again by pumping them up. The reverse Cramer ETF is strong. Yeah, they're starting. I wouldn't be surprised if they're starting to come out with mutual funds where the managers just do the opposite of what Jim Cramer says to do. That's funny. What old 1970s actor with that shirt open? Yes, I did, John. Yes, I did. No, I'll use a deep, pleasing baritone at the same time. How's that? All right. So listen. Do you think Warren Buffett's worried? Heck no. He's going in. He's going in when these things start to fail. That's when he goes in. I honestly think in our world and what we do, the best place to be is in the smaller size multifamilies, because the regional banks are going to start tightening up their lending. And the regional banks are going to be looking at these assets and saying, hey, you lost value. You're coming back home. We want more collateral. You've got to start ponying up to these local lenders. That's why with what we're now calling the oh no, I can't say it. I can't say it. Deb would be very, very mad at me right now. But with our customer relationship management tool, which is being rebranded, and it's awesome. The customer relationship management tool, we've got banks on there and credit unions. So you can go directly to them. It's a one-stop shop where we've got all the potential sources for leads and property leads right there for you. You can get the VA to do it for you. You direct your VA, who is my VA, to get out there and start to go to work for you. And that, I honestly think, because of what's going on, that's the best place to be looking. You won't have to beat down the doors of the special servicers who are taking back properties hand over fist and being called by all the big boys who can write checks, and you can't. You've got to start working with the local banks and really getting your name out there, getting known, speaking to the officers, and making it happen. So let's see. All right. What we're going to talk about today is, and I'm going to go back to, let me see. I think it's this one, Molly. How's that? Is that too small? We'll do it that way. 10 steps a new owner operator must take to transition to a new property. See, the reason why I came up with this topic and I wanted to discuss it is because this is something that's not really talked about. And I think it's very important that you understand the transition and also the how certain hats, occupations blend together in this system. So we're going to talk about it first as if you just bought a property, everybody thinks you're great. You just, did it. You nailed it. Now everybody goes home and you get to stay up late with that baby every single night, nursing it and feeding it until you achieve those goals in your exit strategy. Boy, I made it sound like you're a parent, but the problem with that is, a parent, you don't have an exit strategy. That's why multifamily ownership is better than being a parent. Kidding. All right, here we go. First off, one of the things you're going to do is you're going to notify your people that there's going to be a change of management. You're going to get these letters out to your residents and your vendors. You're going to tell them how they pay their rents. Probably not going to be much of a change. Who to contact if there's a problem. Have all of that stuff set up with your property management company. Now, I'll tell you one time I made a mistake, and I don't want you to make the same mistake. It was a property that I owned where it was a particular ethnic group lived in this particular property. And at the time, I'm not going to lie, it was during the Bush administration, the second Bush administration. There was a lot of talk about, immigrants and, showing your green card and proving that you're a citizen, all that type of crap. And that particular ethnic group was running scared. So one time I put out a letter to the staff, to the residents, saying we're going to have an insurance inspection going around the next day. I lost 10% of my renters that night by sending out that letter. So be very careful how you say it. Remember, these people get up and go to work every day to bring home 1/3 of their paycheck to give to you. Treat them like gold. All right. So make sure that that's a good, well-written, well-marketing with a marketing mindset, because these are your customers. Just be ready for that. Phones and voicemail, obviously, you got to change these over. Make sure that they are directed. Make sure they're going to be answered 24 hours a day. Great services out there that can be live, that you'll always have a live person answer. I mean, one of the ones that we used to use was Pat Live. Pat Live. That was the name of the service that answered our phones. Everyone was named Pat. Hey, I called your office the other day and I spoke to Pat. Yep, you did. Because everyone at that service was named Pat, and they always answer the phones live. So make sure you do that. Make sure you've got all the cell phones locked up and know who owns them and where they're going. Okay, utilities transfer. This is huge. You don't start this process the day before. You've got to start speaking to the utility company a month before you own that property to find out what the utility transfer is going to entail, and what that utility company is going to need. Remember, this is for all your utilities: water, trash, not so much sewer, but electricity, gas, all of those services. Make sure that you speak to them beforehand. And one of the biggest issues is ask them the question: are you going to require a deposit? Because they don't know who you are, and they provide a lot of their product to your company, and they may want to do a little credit check or request a deposit from you. So make sure you know that. That will eat into if you haven't accounted for it, that number really needs to appear on the sources and uses section of your PPM, and so that you know exactly what you need to have in cash in order to pay that bill before the closing date. All right. If you didn't account for it, you know where it's coming out of. It's coming out of your pocket. It's coming out of your acquisition fee. Make sure that you figure it out. You can get it paid back over time, but remember, you have to have set that up and accounted for that money, preferably in the sources and uses section. All right. Okay. You always want to go talk to the housing authority and also the apartment association. If there's a local apartment association, join it. The best property managers I hired were recommended to me by the presidents of the local apartment associations. That was a great thing. That was money incredibly well spent. So make sure you sign up for any apartment association. Also, the housing authority, let them know, hey, come on, I want to be approved for Section 8 so that you can send some of your people my way. Listen, you want to get in good with the Section 8 people. So make sure on day one, you're down there bringing donuts. All right. And make sure they know who you are and why you're there. Become their friend. And you always want to find out. Okay, let me give you a little tip. If you are looking to buy a property, and this property is primo for Section 8, like just by looking at it, there should be Section 8 people living at this property, and there aren't. And you can tell that just by looking at the rent roll. There's going to be a column for rent subsidy, and there's nothing on there for the whole entire property for rent subsidy. And Section 8 does not work with your group. And then you go ask the owner, hey, why aren't there any Section 8 people on this property? Oh, I hate Section 8. I can't stand those people. I won't work with them. I refuse to work with them. Chances are pretty good that they want to refuse to work with him. And then your property is blackballed with Section 8, and you can't get Section 8 people on there to pay you. You want to find that out ahead of time. You especially want to find it out ahead of time if your exit strategy is to, or your investment strategy is to add more Section 8 people to the mix. Not good. All right, next. Oh, you do the city certs, the pool, the boiler. Guys, there was a big thing where you saw a lot of pools get shut down and never get opened up again. And let me tell you the anecdotal story of why that was. I don't know if it's true. See if somebody else knows this to be true. But supposedly, some U.S. senator's grandchild got caught in a pool filter and drowned. And so she came up with legislation all over the country that every pool had to be remodified so that type of thing doesn't happen. And a lot of property owners said, it's not worth it. We're going to get rid of the pool. We'll shut down the pool. You saw a lot of pools being filled in, and they got out of the business of running the pools because they didn't want to have to pay for that new cost of bringing the property up to compliance with the law. That's the story I heard. I never saw any proof of it, but that's what everybody kept talking about. If anybody wants to prove me right or wrong, I would appreciate it. All right. Okay, this is key. This all goes to your marketing. Get the website up and running. There are some companies that have turnkey websites for properties. Get the floor plans up there. Get it so that your tenants can pay their rent right through the website. Get it so people can apply for residency right through the website. When I first got in this business, nobody had a website. Now the stuff that happens is absolutely fantastic. You also want to capture their email address. You want to make sure that the property management system captures their email address, captures their cell phone, so you can get messages out to everybody with just a push of a button. It's fantastic how the systems work nowadays. We are probably going to be talking about this at our session in Florida, where we do the transition from asset management to property management. But that is something that you definitely want to have all this stuff done up ahead of time. Make it look like you're a pro. That would be the best thing, is when you walk on that property, let all your tenants know this is how we're doing things from now on. Educate them, train them as customers, and they'll be the best customers you ever had. Let's see. Vendors, obviously, you're going to transition these vendors over. Shop around. Do we have to keep using the same landscaper? Was he that good? How much does he charge? Does anybody else want the business? Cable, you're going to be kind of tough, but you want to make sure that any money that is due you from the cable company, you want to let them notify them what new account they can send it to. Pest control, you want to get all these third-party contracted vendors already set up ahead of time so that you're ready to rock and roll on day one. All right. Okay. Now, this is crucial. This is where we really start talking about the blend between asset manager and property manager. And right now, the talk in the industry is that those two occupations are becoming one because of starting here with the budget. Obviously, when you're putting together this deal to go to your investors to raise money, you've got a budget. You figure out what the NOI should be every single year on this property. Now, what your job is as an asset manager is to manage to that budget. And when you manage to that budget, who's the one that's doing the boots on the ground? It's the property manager. They need to know what you expect of them in order to keep your investors happy. So you create the budget. And the beautiful thing about the way property management systems work is you can take that budget and put it into the system so that you know that any amount of money that goes into this particular category, it's going to send up a red flag that you've overspent your budget for the month. And then you, as an asset manager and a property manager, need to come together and say, hey, we got to watch this. I mean, we just blew through this budget. What happened? We can't keep having that, because you have to look at this as an asset, not just as the property, because you got to keep those investors happy, especially because these property management systems will generate reports every single month, and your investors will want to see them. So when you start blowing through the budget, they're going to be questioning you as an asset manager. You've got to work together with the property management company. And this is basically what I mean. Number 9, you got to introduce a property manager to the asset manager. Those two people have to do the most important thing, which I'm going to say in just a moment, which is right there: communicate, communicate, communicate. And I said, this is the number one thing. You've got to get all your parties on board and communicating together and understanding what's going right, what's going wrong. Now, number 10, and this is something that you don't think about. And obviously, as an attorney, I think about these things. When you sign that purchase and sale agreement way back when, one of the things you negotiated was the length of time that the seller's representations and warranties remained valid and in force. Now, what does that mean? What do you mean valid and in force? That means that if there's any breach of a seller's representation or a breach of a seller's warranty, there only can be a certain length of time that you can go back and get compensation for the breach. You see, the seller, in his inducement to get you to buy, is going to make promises like, I promise that this won't happen for the next 12 months. I'll give you an example of what I mean in a moment. This won't happen for the next 12 months. Okay, so this is now, we're still within the first 12 months and something happened. Well, what you have to do is the property manager and the asset manager need to be aware of all the reps and warranties that were promised back at the purchase and sale execution stage, so that they can make sure that the seller is living up to them. And if they're not, they have to bring it to your attention so you can go take action against the seller. So this is a very important part that everybody seems to forget. You've got to remember to go look at that purchase and sale agreement, make sure that you see the reps and warranties, and you're going to live out, make sure that the seller lives out to the terms of those reps and warranties. All right. And that is obviously communicate, communicate, communicate. That is key. But that is really some of the things I want. The primary thing I want you to start thinking about in this, with this particular presentation, a little abbreviated version, but the thing I want you to take into consideration is that the property manager and the asset manager have to live together. One is not independent of the other. They have to be communicating on a regular basis. They need to be talking on a monthly basis at the least. Because typically when think about what happens. You get the monthly report comes out on the 15th day after the month. So if something went wrong on the second day of the month, we're now 45 days away from that event occurring. And then that report needs to be distributed and analyzed, and everybody works together. So that is something you need to take into consideration when you're communicating with the asset manager and the property manager. They should be communicating more than every month, because sometimes you can't, if you don't know something happened and it's been cleared up, you can't manage it and you won't be ready for next time. So make sure that the asset manager and the property manager live together. That's really the number one point. And that's what we talk about going forward, when we do our asset manager and property manager and acquisition manager. We put those three levels together so that you can all see how a property management, how a multifamily real estate investment business actually works. All right, that's it. I'm going to tell you the updates. So we've got the dates are being executed. Let me see for the events. Let me just get them, because I always say them wrong. And then Deb always comes back. Why did you say that? Okay, so here we go. June 8th and 9th, Multifamily OS Mastermind, Fort Lauderdale, the W Hotel. That is for all of my clients. And that's going to be first half of the first day is when we do the oh, good, Frank. That's excellent. First half of the first day, second half of the first day is going to be a networking, team building, all exercises to really bring my group together. I love it when my students are friends with each other, when they work together, nothing better. Then I'm taking everybody out for dinner. Should be about 50 people. We've got a whole area of a steakhouse, all set to go. It's going to be great, all on me. The second day is going to be a class, a lesson. We're going to learn about running a business, because the multifamily real estate investment business is a business. We're not just teaching you how to acquire property. We're teaching you how to build a business that's going to leave you a legacy like you can't imagine. It's going to give you the most amazing lifestyle. And we want to make sure that you build it correctly. And that's what the Multifamily OS system is all about. That's the 8th and the 9th. The 10th and the 11th, that's when we open it up to the public and everybody can come in, and we're going to teach all about acquisition management, asset management, and property management, and show you exactly how you need to have those three things going and working in conjunction with each other in order to be successful in this business. And that's also going to be at the W Hotel in Fort Lauderdale. I'll be getting you links so you can sign on up. The mastermind is limited in the number of spaces we make available, and same with the other event, the 2-day event on Saturday and Sunday. That's limited to 150 people. It's not one of those big, huge ballrooms filled with 500 people. this is a very intense training. So that's going to be on 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. And then on July 28th in Chicago, that's the Hotels to Apartments Conversion Summit. And that's going to be a great session, taught by myself and Dave Peters. Dave Peters is one of the top hotel converters in the country. I've invested in his deals. He does a phenomenal job. I just got his monthly update just before we got on the call. Unbelievable how good he is at running a hotel to apartment conversion business. I think he's got about over 60 employees now working for him doing that. And the deals that are available out there are fantastic, but it's an entirely different language than it was with with multifamily. So we're going to teach you the language, and we're going to teach you how to find deals, and we'll if you find the right deals, we're looking to work with you. So that's going to be July 28th and 29th. It's a Thursday, Friday, or Friday, Saturday. Let me see. If Deb is on the call, or if Molly is on the call, Molly knows. Let's see. Oh, that's cool. Thanks, John. That's very cool. Let me see. I love it when my clients who are on this call. Okay. Yeah. Francisco just texted me. He says, what am I a part of? Don't worry, Francisco. You're at the top. You're at the top level. Just relax. I got you. Okay, Deborah. Deborah's saying that it is going to be the Friday, Saturday. So that's the 28th, 29th. And that's in Chicago. Let me see. Okay, Luis Rios, good. Yep, Luis, I'd love to talk to you. Absolutely. Let's do this. All right, good. Thanks, Deb. Good. Frank. Love you, Frank. Man, I last time I was in Florida, last time I was down there checking out hotels, I had dinner with Frank. That was a lot of fun. All right, so that's it. I'll get you more information on it. We got the sales pages coming out. We got the sign-up forms, but it is limited in space. I don't do big ballroom events. So it's going to be really, really nice. And I'm looking forward to both of them. I'm especially looking forward to the hotel conversion, because that's going to be, that's really going to be a cutting edge event. And you're going to learn tons. All right, everybody. Hey, listen, good to see you. Stay, keep your powder dry, because cash is going to be king coming up. And that's going to be what sets everything apart. So, all right, that is it for tonight. And I will, if you have any topics, let Deb or Molly know. I will be teaching about anything regarding multifamily. I should actually have Dave Peters on coming up to talk about the hotel conversion summit, and then we'll take it from there. All right, everybody, good to see you all, and we will chat soon. Thanks.